Every story in the latest round of matches, and it's been an eventful few days at Hulkingston Rovers. They parted company with head coach Craig Sandercock on Thursday ahead of a visit from the Super League leaders. Richard, 4 days in Super League seems a very long time. You get rid of the coach on the Thursday and then do that. Did you see that coming?
I didn't at all, and I don't think many people had probably predicted that result for Hull, but it's a tough...
You've had that coaching change with the assistant taking charge. What does it do? What does it do? It seems to galvanise the players.
Yeah, well, and certainly Hull did that on Sunday.
I suppose to an outsider you'd think he's in there, he's part of that coaching system. Why, when they become...
You know, I'm sure they're looking for a big run to, you know, the back end of the season.
St Helens are unexplainable at the moment. They wonderful result against Wigan, but then they had that result against Catalan, and that seems to be what's upset Nathan, that you could have two results like this one and the Catalan reasonably close together. Yeah, probably a little bit inconsistent at the minute. You know, the Wigan performance were probably, you know, the performance of the season, you know, throughout Super League. I thought they were brilliant that night. That happened on Sunday. And for, what Chris Chester was saying afterwards was, yeah, A, they thought they owed Craig Sandercock a win, but B, he just instilled some belief in them, told the players how good they could be. Is that maybe just what they needed?
Yeah, I guess so.
So the leaders St Helens were beaten, but what about second place Leeds? They made the short trip to Wakefield on Friday night, and Stuart Pike saw this one.
Wakefield.
So who had to pay for dinner when you went out on Saturday night?
He had to get the bill, didn't he, after winning. So.
Way to go. You guys must be absolutely thrilled. And 4 games since James took over, you haven't lost any, and you've beaten Wigan and Leeds in there. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and probably thrown a point away against Hull as well. And you wouldn't have thought that 5 weeks ago, and it was all doom and gloom. And we couldn't buy a win, we couldn't buy a performance, and managed to come up with a great play there by Tim Smith.
You talked about Chris Chester saying he told his players to believe and to go out and be honest. James Rose has said he's told you guys to look up and not look down. Has that been the difference?
Yeah, and it's...
What about your try that wasn't? You've had a look at it. What do you think?
No, I think obviously Ollie, you know, we were talking about this before, he practices them situations where it's a 2 versus 1 and he's got to stop the ball basically or make the tackle. And
had to run quite so far.
Yeah, to run a fair distance, but the walk back was...
My timing to pass it because of his massive go-go gadget arms.
Well, let's have a look at that final try. It looked like a...
So we tried it earlier on and I nearly dropped it, and I could just see a glint in his eye, and I thought I'd better hang back here, and he found the pass. And
you want to hang on to him for next year,
yeah,
is what
definitely.
You're saying. So James Webster maintains his unbeaten record as head coach. Let's see who else was smiling in round 19. Warrington were looking to close the gap on the top 2. They were at Hull FC on Friday night. The Wolves haven't been beaten since the start of May.
To compete with them.
Well, there were 2 new faces in the Salford lineup at Huddersfield. Mason Caton-Brown made his debut after signing from London, and there was a first appearance for the Red Devils' New Zealand fullback Kevin Locke. Gets off a plane on Tuesday, 1 training session, does that. He's a frightening prospect, isn't he?
He didn't look too nervous to me out there. Watching them highlights, how he, when he settles in and...
You did wince at the sending off, didn't you, at that tackle?
I did. It was the first I'd seen of it, and it was a bad one. And I think Paul Anderson's reactions after told that story, and I'm all for sort of putting pressure on key players, but that's a bit of a cheap shot for me, and I think he was more disappointed that the players didn't take the action into their own hands, which we don't condone, but when you're captain and you're chief playmaker, I think you'll get a fair few games for that.
Huddersfield have been winning, but haven't been happy particularly with their form. Do you think maybe that was coming, or it just doesn't seem to... Well, a great start for Kevin Locke, adding to the list of international fullbacks in Super League. It wasn't such a smooth start for Matty Bowen when he joined Wigan at the start of the season, but he's now established himself as a key player for the champions. The Australian arrived to replace Sam Tompkins and has been in sparkling form. Wigan were in London on Saturday afternoon, their first ever visit to the Hive, and no prizes for guessing how this one went, but...
Be happy with the defence, you know, it's... some soft tries there, some barge over tries from the forwards, which you're never happy about, but again, some long-range tries that, pretty breathtaking from Wigan.
Well, next month, Widnes take on Castleford with a place in the Challenge Cup final at stake. They had a dress rehearsal for their semi-final on Thursday when there were 2 Super League points up for grabs. Stuart Pike was watching. Get to the decision.
Yeah, I just didn't understand why he didn't just put his flag up, or maybe there was a breakdown in communication, because I know the linesmen and the touchers and the referees are all we're looking to bounce back there, and it's sort of a bit patchy, sort of backing up some great attack. They've got some great attacking players, but they'll change the complex of the game because they were in it right up until 2 of them breakaway tries really cost them.
He's quite some talent, is a goodie. Finally, let's check on Bradford. They were 9 points from safety at the start of the weekend. Catalan were their opponents.
It can cover lots of different positions.
Possibly the most eye-catching is buying not one but two halfbacks. Hull FC getting Mark Sneyd and Leon Price. How do you think those two will work?
Yeah, I think they'll work well together. Obviously, you know, Leon's very experienced, been around the game for such a long time.
See what he did in the World Cup. He's an awesome beastie, isn't he, when he wants to be?
Yeah, he's got brothers as well that are just as next year.
And very quickly, quick word on Craig Hall going to your joint?
Yeah, another great player with great...
Their company tonight. We will see you at the same time next week. But for now, goodbye.